Feel the magic under Keely's light. Hook in hand, we're gonna start today. Hook in love will show the way.
Hello, I'm Keely Robertson from Hooking Love. This week's tutorial is the Alpine Stitch, which is a beautiful texture stitch. And if you like something that keeps your mind occupied, then this is the one for you. If you don't already subscribe, I share videos every week. So if you like something that's calm and beginner friendly, hit subscribe and join in every week with me. Now this is a stitch that we're going to make in the Alpine Stitch. So hopefully you can see the beautiful texture. So let's go on and start that. To make the Alpine Stitch, you will need a suitable yarn, so any real thickness, as long as you've got an appropriate size hook. So I'm using a double knit, and I'm actually using a 4.5mm hook. I find that it can work up a little bit tightly, so maybe do a sample and decide whether you like the way that it's working up. You will also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle to be able to sew your ends in. The pattern structure follows a 4-row pattern repeat, and you are going to start off with a slip knot. So however you make your slip knot is fine, and then we are going to chain in multiples of 2. So I'm just going to do a small sample to be able to show you, but you are chaining multiples of 2. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12 on there. So I'm going to do just a little bit more. 13, 14, 15, 16. So I have 16 stitches, well 16 chains. And what I'm going to do is I'm just doing one extra because our first row is a row of single crochet. So that's US single, UK double. So this will be my turning chain. So that's an extra one there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a single crochet in each chain. I tend to go into the back bump, but however you choose to go in is entirely up to you. So we're going to go into the chain, draw the yarn through. We're going to have 2 loops on the hook, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So we'll do that again. So into the chain, draw your yarn through the chain, and then you are going to have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through both. And you're going to do that all the way along your chain. So you feel free to pause the video, and I will be back shortly at the end of my chain. So if you pause yours, and once you get to the end of your chain you come back on, we'll be there together. Now I have completed my little row of single crochets, so I'm going to turn my work. Now this second row is going to be all US doubles or UK trebles, and you can either chain 3, in which case chain 3 now, or you can turn and do a standing double crochet. It is entirely up to you. I'm going to do a standing double crochet. I'll show you how that is and how it looks, but if you prefer to chain 3 and that will count as your first stitch, then that's entirely up to you. So for me, I'm going to turn my work, and then in the first stitch I'm not chaining at all. I'm going straight into it, and I am drawing a loop up, and I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm yarning over and pulling through those 2. And that is intrinsically a single crochet, a US single, UK double. I'm now going to go through that left leg of that stitch. So these are the 2 sections of the stitch I've just made. I'm going through to that left leg. I'm going to draw a loop through that leg, and I've got 2 on my hook again, and I'm yarning over and pulling through those 2. So effectively I've made 1 single crochet on top of another, and this is called a standing double or a standing treble. If you prefer to chain 3, then you chain 3 and then follow on from there. So the next stitch, so that's our first stitch, so the next stitch is going to be a standard US double, standard UK treble. So yarn over, go in through the top 2 sections of the stitch below and pull your yarn through. So you've got 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So let's do that again together. So yarn over, place your hook through the stitch and draw a loop through. So you've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'll do that with you one more time. So we're yarning over the hook before placing it into the stitch, drawing a loop through. So we've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. You're going to repeat that all the way right to the end. And so again, pause the video here. I will come back when I'm ready, and then when you're unpaused, as you're ready, we'll be together in the same place. All right, so I have finished that row and we are now on to row 3. So for row 3, you're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to put another row of single crochets in. So at the moment what we're doing is we're doing our sort of foundational stitches, and the next row, so row 4, is when you'll start to see it coming together. So US single, UK double, so hook through the first stitch, draw your yarn through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through. So let's do that again together. So into the stitch, draw a loop through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through. And again, we're going to go all the way along to the end. So pause the video. When you're done, come back. And we are finished now with row 3, and we're going to move on to row 4. If you haven't already been doing it, please remember just to check on the number of stitches, particularly if you're new. It's very easy to drop a stitch and start to have a piece of work that isn't straight. Now, as we move on to our 4th row, this is where we start to really see our work coming together. So again, you're going to chain 3, or you're going to do the standing stitch. Now, have you done this stitch before? If you have, leave a comment. So if you're at this point and you're still watching, leave a comment and let me know what it is that you like about this stitch. And if you are enjoying it, please remember to subscribe. And any comments that you leave are super helpful, particularly for such a small account as mine. Now, on this one, we are going to start with our standing stitch. So I'm making what looks like a single crochet without chain into that left leg, drawing a loop up and yarning over and pulling through both loops. You can, of course, make a chain 3. Okay, so this is our first stitch, so whether it's chain 3 or the standing stitch. Now, this is where it starts to become a little bit more exciting. You are going to do a front post double crochet, front post treble crochet around this post below. So you're going to be missing this row of single crochet stitches and go down to the row below. So you're yarning over and you are going from the front around the stitch to the back. If you have not done these before, I do have a tutorial on front post double crochets. So go and have a look for that, or if you can't find it, let me know and I will find it for you and tag you in it, or leave you the link. So we're going to then complete this like a normal double crochet with one slight exception. So we're going to pull that through, and then at this point we are going to just give ourselves a bit of height, because the danger here is that if we keep this too tight, our whole piece of work is going to become too tight and slightly misshapen. So can you see I'm pulling it up so it's at the same sort of height as it would be if it was at the top of this stitch, and then yarning over and pulling through 2, and then yarning over and pulling through 2. So now this stitch is roughly the same height as a normal stitch. What we next do then is a standard double, so standard US double, UK treble in the next stitch. So if we look behind, that's the stitch that corresponds with the one we've just done. So we're going into this one. So this is the point where you probably just want to be really careful about where you're going into, because it is easy to add 2 stitches into one. So we're going to make a standard stitch, and then we're going to do another front post. So again, this is where the standard stitch was, which means we're going into this one, we're missing this one, and going into this front post here. So again, from the front around, draw that loop up, lift it up so it's about level, and then yarn through 2 and yarn over and through 2. Okay, so let's do that again. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going just into the top of the stitch below, and making a standard stitch, and then I'm going to go and make a front post. So that's the one that we've just done, and I'm making a front post here. So around the stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, pull it up to give it a bit of height, yarn through 2, and then yarn over and through 2. Okay, so you should be able to start to see that we're starting to bring this work forward, and this just sits straight and proud. So it starts to become a little bit easy for you to see. So we're going to carry on with that. So a normal US double, UK treble, followed by a front post. Okay, and I am going to stay on camera for this all the way along. Okay, now we're at the last stitch, and instinct might tell you that you're going to do another front post stitch because that's what follows on, but we're always going to start and end with a standard US double, UK treble. So I'm just going to go into the top of the stitch and complete that one, because it just gives us a little bit more stability at the ends, and hopefully you can start to see how that's shaping up. And we're now going to move on to row 5. Now, row 5 is going to be another row of US singles, UK doubles. So chain 1, turn your work, go into your stitch, draw a loop through. You'll have 2 on the hook, yarn over and pull through those 2. We're going to do that all the way along. And again, I'll pause here. Well, I'll stop here, you pause here, and then we'll come back to start on row 6. Alright, so I've just finished row 5 and I'm about to turn to do row 6, and again I'm going to do a standing stitch. Again, you could do a chain 3. Now, this is where it becomes a little bit more interesting. You are going to alternate now between what you were doing on this row and what you're doing on this row. So our first stitch is always going to be either that chain 3 or a standing stitch. And this stitch here, this second stitch, was a front post here. And we're going to do the alternate now. So instead of it being a front post, we're going to go in at the top. We're going to do our US double, UK treble just in the top. So I'm going to complete it like that. And then the next stitch, which was the standard stitch, we are going to do as the front post stitch. So we're going to be bringing that forward in this time. So we're going to yarn over, go behind the post, so the post is in front, draw the loop up. Remember to give yourself some height, yarn through 2 and yarn over and through 2. And again, the next one's going to be a standard one. And then the next one's going to be a front post. And this is what gives the Alpine Stitch such a beautiful look, because the texture is undulating. It's going backwards and forwards throughout the whole piece of work, and it really is beautiful. Okay, so the next one's standard right at the top, and then the next one's a front post. And at the top, and a front post. And the top, and front post. And the top. Front post. And we've got 2 left now, so we've got a front post here. And then we're going to end with a standard US double, UK treble. Oh, that's slightly out of shot, sorry about that. So hopefully you can now see how this pattern is alternating. So we've got the front post here and then the front post here, and it gives a really beautiful look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on and do a few more pieces, well, a few more rows of this to build this piece up. Can you see how it's starting to curl a little bit? And this is why I've gone up a hook size. As you work a bigger piece, it does tend to hold itself down, but if you are quite a tight crocheter, you may find that that curls all the more, and you want to go up more than just half hook size or a 1 mil hook change. So just be mindful of that. Now, let me talk you through what's going to happen next. So every alternate row is going to be a row of UK doubles, US singles, which is what I'm about to go on to. And then on the next row, you're going to do your front post and standard stitches, but you're going to alternate them. So as I come back with my single crochets, I will then do my standing in here, and then this would be a front post, and that would be a top and front post and the top and front post and the top, and that's the change that you're looking for as you do this. And here we are with the finished piece, and you can see now how beautiful the texture is. And this can be used in many different ways. So you can use it to make a scarf or a blanket, you know, and a project that just has that in. I have a project and a tutorial for a pair of mitts. So it's a type that are fingerless, but then has a flap that goes over. So you can choose to do it with or without the flap. There is also a bag pattern that I have designed, which is on Wool Warehouse, and what my own design of my own website also has a bag pattern. So they're very similar in styles. One's just on a very much thinner yarn than the other, and they work up slightly differently. But those are really good examples of how you can use the Alpine Stitch in a completely different way and gives a really beautiful texture. So I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. Please leave comments, as I've said, and if you've enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe so that you can join in with the next one.